Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Karla, and I try to do my makeup while I tell you something scary that I found on the internet. And for this one, yeah, you better buckle up because it's a crazy one. So I think it's safe to say that there's nothing scarier in this whole entire world than something being scary and at the same time being super true. So the story I'm going to tell you guys about, I actually found this story on the Reddit thread. What is your scariest scary story? And it has to be serious. So actually, after I read the story that I talked to you guys about on the last video, I actually kept reading the thread and I found one that I thought was pretty scary because it's actually based on a true story, but well, actually, I can't even tell you guys who the user is because the user has now been deleted. And this story was told 9 years ago. There is a follow-up post, which is what made this story even scarier. Okay, so the thread or the story starts off by saying, a terrifying but true story I experienced when I was 12. So she goes on to tell us that she was around, she was like around 10 years old, and she had recently moved with her father. And she didn't really know anyone at the time. She only knew, like, this family that her father was friends with. And this family was actually made up of a single mom and 3 kids. One of the kids was a couple of years older than the person telling the story. And she says that they kind of were able to, hang out a little bit for around like 2 years. And I'm thinking that they were actually hanging out because, their parents were friends, obviously. So she says that they weren't really like super buddies, her and the girl and the other kids or anything, but they actually did share the same group of friends. Okay, so the user and this girl that was older than her actually had a mutual friend. Like I said, they would hang out with the same group of friends, so obviously they had a mutual friend. And this one day, this mutual friend was at the other girl's house. I feel like it's so complicated, but he was actually at the other girl's house, and Rob is his name. That's what they called him, Rob. He was actually hanging out with this girl at night when the mother wasn't there. So the mom was out at work, and Rob was just hanging out with this girl and the younger brother of this girl, if you get my flow. So even though I guess they weren't supposed to have anybody around because, mom is out working, well, that just didn't stop them from hanging out that night. And I do want to point out something very important in the story of the Reddit user, because she does let us know that this 12-year-old's mother, I guess, yeah, they're saying that she's 12 years old because the other user was 10 at the time. So they were at this 12-year-old's home, or I'm not really sure what age she is at that time because this person doesn't disclose it. Anyways, so they're obviously not supposed to have anyone over, and they still had this raw person over. So this next part is actually super important, and I actually had left it out. The 12-year-old's mother was actually, through her job, she knew this lady that she was actually helping. And this lady that she was helping through her job actually had a sister that was in a mental institution and had been left or had been released early, okay? It's very important to the story. Okay, so that night when Rob was at this 12-year-old's house, they all of a sudden heard, someone knock at the door, and the 12-year-old thought it was her mother. So because Rob was not supposed to be there, he actually snuck out through the window and just ran down the road to his home, right? And he didn't really think anything of it. He was probably just okay, I'm leaving because I'm not supposed to be here. I don't want you to get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble, and all that good stuff. So he just ran and just never looked back, okay? He just was nope. And I do want to point out that they actually she thought it was her mother because she knocked a certain way, and the certain way that her mother knocked was the same way that they knocked on her door that night. But folks, this is a scary story, so it couldn't have been that easy. So no, you guessed it. It wasn't her mother. But do you want to guess who it was? Or do you want me to just tell you who it was? I'll give you a few seconds. Let's see if you guess it. Write it in the comments below, and then we'll see if you guessed it. So if you guessed that it was a neighbor, you guessed super wrong. Super wrong. It was not the neighbor. It was the lady that was released early from the mental institution. The lady that was the sister of the lady that her mom, the 12-year-old's mom, was helping. But you might be asking yourself, why was this lady there? What was she looking for? And how in the world did she know where these people lived? Okay, and then the user tells us that after that, she doesn't really know what happened, luckily, but I'm assuming she, maybe gossip, people being oh, this is what happened because, humans tend to do that. Anyways, probably there was a lot of gossip of what was going on, but she finishes the story by telling us that this 12-year-old's brother actually was able to leave the home and call the police, and then the police got there, and guess what? The lady brutally murdered this girl in her home, and she decapitated her. But not only that, the user says that this lady actually hid the head. So police came in, they found the body, and had to look through the presents Okay, they had to look through Christmas presents to find the head. They finally found the head, and this girl is like, I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral, and that is that, right? And I'm over here like, what? What did I just read? I actually forgot one part. This girl, apart from being decapitated, they say that they found her body. It wasn't just like they opened the door and they found her body. No. She says that they found her body inside of a bathtub, and her body was naked. So obviously I was just like, what the hell did I just read? Honestly, that's yeah. So I was like, this has to be true. So I just like scrolled down and then saw that there was like this follow-up, and then she was like, you know, I think I might have had the timing a bit wrong, but you know, here's the story. And so the story is actually, it takes you to a Google group. I didn't even know that existed, but hey. And so in this Google group, it's like an email. I'll be linking everything below anyways. I guess it's like an email that they sent to this Joe guy. And yeah, it's pretty horrible, everything that it says on there. But then also I had to search. Like, you guys have no idea. Once I had names there, I searched the story, and it was very hard to find information. And I'm assuming it's because it was so long ago. And although the internet did exist at the time, I don't think that, like, we didn't have the information, or we weren't able to find things as easily. But also, you know, it was on, like, I guess I couldn't find any videos or anything on it. But there was like these news articles and like these newspaper articles that I was able to like base myself on to being able to find out exactly what happened. And you guys are going to want to sit down for this one, okay? So the reality of the story is the girl's name, the 12-year-old's name that was decapitated, well, her name is Adrienne May Amicons. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. And Adrienne was born in Canada. She was actually born on January 12th, 1983, okay? So, early 80s. I'm gonna go ahead and put these babies on off camera, and then I'll come back and tell you guys the story, okay? So, Adrienne was a 14-year-old, and she lived in Peterborough, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she lived with her mom, Roberta, is what they say her name was. Her sister, they don't mention her sister's name, but she says that they say that she's 16 at the time. And a younger brother that they don't mention his name either, but they do say that he is 9 years old. So Roberta, Adrienne's mom, had met a lady by the name Jean Ann Rutsky. And the way they met was through the Peterborough Native Friendship Center. I can't remember the name, so I had to write it down, okay? So this is where they meet, allegedly. Now, Jean Ann Rutsky was actually 40 years old at the time. So, yeah. She also, they do mention that she actually had 4 children, but they had actually been taken away from her. So I actually wanted to know what this center was about. So I'm thinking that these people were Native Americans. I'm pretty sure they were. And there's this like center where I don't know if there's like psychologists there or anything like that and mental health stuff, but I did know that I did see that there's a lot they don't go by that name anymore, but I'm not really sure if like this is what they call it and then it has this other name, but I'll be putting it somewhere right here, right? Or right here, I don't know, but I'll put it somewhere. I'll even link it below. But the story says that they met through there, and I guess there was so many activities there for kids and adults and everything. So I'm not really sure what she was doing there, but she definitely frequently visited this place, and I guess I'm not really sure if Roberta worked there or she also visited the place or how they came about, but they do mention that a Mike Myers is actually helping Miss Rutsky, because also they do mention that Anne had been admitted many times to mental institutions. Now, I did read a few articles and also what was the story that was told on this on this Google group. And well, they don't really say how Roberta and Anne knew each other at all, Jean and Anne knew each other at all. It doesn't disclose it in any way. Nobody really knows, or they don't disclose it, or they just don't know. People are they didn't really know each other personally, but then also there was others I guess it kind of depends on the source. It depends who you ask at this point. So at the end of the day, we don't really know if they were friends or not, or what the deal with this people was. I think it's also important to mention that oh man, I did this backwards, but who cares? Okay. So I think that it's something that we do have to mention. Now, Jean Ann Rutsky had been charged once for assaulting a lady and her child. So they were just walking downtown, minding their own business, and I guess, Jean Ann attacked them or something like that. So the staff at the center were already concerned with her behavior, and also I guess because they interviewed this Mike Myers this person, he was there was that they tried to help as much as they could. Okay, so I had to get another one of these because it was too hard and I didn't wash this one, so here I am just trying my best not to fuck up my makeup. Anyways, so yeah, they were saying he was we just couldn't help her. I guess this place didn't have what Jean Ann actually needed to be able to be better, or for them to actually be able to help her in the best way possible, right? Okay, so this is where the story actually starts. It is it is a Thursday, December 18th, 1997, and at 7:22 p.m., the police department receives a phone call, I'm assuming from some neighbor, and this person is all yeah, you need to check out this address. They actually disclose the address, but I'm not gonna go ahead and put it out there just because I don't know who lives at this address anymore, and I didn't look it up, and I don't want people going to that address. So, they're you need to come because you need to check it out because there is noise, a lot of noise, and and they were like, I guess probably they were screaming or something. Well, whatever the case was, someone called the police and were like, please, police department, check this out. So because of the area where this took place, the police officer on duty was like, what? Probably a party, probably something very, not very out of the wild, like something that, I don't know, they probably thought someone was like having a party, or someone was just like yelling or whatever, or they just imagined many scenarios, but none of them were like bad, none of them were to be worried about. So police finally arrived to the home, and it says that once they open the door, they are able to just see Jean standing there, and she's covered in blood, and she's just like holding a knife. So one of the police officers just like tries to take the knife away, and she ends up, getting not stabbed, but she did like cut her hand trying to like stop this, like to take the knife away and be like, girl, I'm gonna put these handcuffs on you. So unfortunately, right after they actually, well, I'm not going to say unfortunately. I mean, it is unfortunate that they found the body and it was already like decapitated. That's what they found. They found her body and then the head right next to it. So I'm going to say not unfortunately. So I'm glad that they were able to find the body, and they didn't mention anything about having to like, find, like, look for them in any presence or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure that the story this other person told is not that, she's a liar or anything, or he's a liar or anything. Well, actually, she's a she, right? They're liars or anything. It's just that, people gossip, and sometimes we get this, like, we get the information wrong, okay? So they actually did do an autopsy on her. So we're talking about an autopsy. I'm sorry. We're talking about her death being on a Thursday, and then they sent her body for an autopsy, and then on Saturday the results came back and they were able to confirm that Adrienne died of decapitation. So nothing else was done to her. She was just like decapitated, and that's the way she died. So I'm not really sure if it was the very next day or a few days later or how the situation went down, but it is said on one of like the newspapers, and like I said, I will be linking everything below. It was said that Jean Ann had actually gone to court like very briefly, and she was just like yelling at everyone. She was spitting on everyone, and one of the things that she was yelling, which I think is just like so horrible, was, you better find a good doctor to put that child together again. So like right after her doing all these nasty stuff, she also says more nasty stuff, So yeah. So she was charged with first-degree murder, but the judge at the time said that she, needed to be held in custody because this person was a ticking time bomb. Okay, so this is hard. I'm gonna do my lips off camera and I'll be right back. So the following Wednesday, she was supposed to be in court, but officials or officers of the Kingston Psychiatric Hospital wanted to do an evaluation on her, or like an assessment. I guess they're pretty much the same thing. So they wanted to do an assessment with her, and they actually took her in, or she was actually like in custody of them for like about 60 days, which was like the maximum amount of time that they are able to, or they're allowed to keep people in the hospital, in that mental hospital. So then they also say that friends and family like got together that weekend, I guess, to like they also like they got together and they talked about Adrian and everything, and it was like classmates. She was a 9th grader, so all of her class came together, her friends and her family, all of that. You know, the police department also had like made this like fund thing, like fundraiser for donations, so that they were able to get like presents for the Amicons family, for the kids and everything. And I thought it was really sad because, you know, that was some of the things that were printed on the newspaper. And they say that one of the classmates was like, yeah, well, you know, Adrian was a bit quiet and you kind of had to like push things out of her. So she was very shy. Her best friend also talked and said that she missed her a lot and that it was like Adrian was just a very good person, and that she actually believed that, you know, whoever did this, or this person that did this, not whoever did this, but the person that did this, you know, was like pretty messed up for doing this to a person that was, you know, not mean to anyone at all. So they do mention that the Amicons family was actually sent to another home, so they were relocated, I'm assuming by the same center, and they just were like, yeah, we're gonna relocate them, and they're not gonna have to come back to this house after everything that happened, so that way it's not so hard for them. So immediately they were just relocated. They had another home, and they didn't have to come back to a place where, you know, Adrian was gonna be like one of the obviously they were gonna miss Adrian, but I think that coming back to the place where it all happened is harder. So they were like, yeah, we're not gonna let them face that, so we're just gonna relocate them. So remember when I told you guys that they couldn't disclose whether they, like, Roberta, Adrian's mom, and Jean Ann, how they knew each other? They said that because they, I guess, like, some of the newspapers, or, well, I don't know, like, because everything was so weird, but I guess one of the articles said that they were going to be tracking, like, all of the steps and activities that Adrian had done, you know, that particular day, and also Jean Ann, to see, like, what So I got rudely cut off by my camera. And I was just telling you guys that they were going to, like, trace all of the activities that Adrian and Jean Ann had that day to, like, try to figure out what happened and why this all occurred. I also want to mention, because it was one of the things I forgot to mention, is that in the Google group where they sent information in to a person, they actually mentioned that Jean Ann would actually go to the Amicons home, like, sometimes, so that they actually did know the like, they knew each other, okay, basically. How true is this? I don't really know, because the whole Google group is not, like, an official site, or it's not, like, something verified, so I'm not really sure. But if that were the case, I'm assuming that either Roberta was, like, working at the center or was going to the center for some reason, and she was just trying to help Jean Ann in a way, maybe trying to get her family back, or trying to, like, I don't know, many things could have happened, and that's why she was coming over to the home, but we will never really know, because, like I said, although there was internet before, like, at that time, we weren't really using it the way we're using it now, so it was really hard to get information. I also want to encourage every one of you to look through peepholes and and windows, not doors, and windows, when someone knocks at your door. Just because you recognize the knocking or the way someone walks or whatever doesn't mean that someone can't mimic that. I am a person that likes to scare myself. So with this whole, I don't know why, but with this whole pandemic and everything that happened, I get really anxious when someone knocks at my door. And when my husband forgets his keys, or he's like, you know, holding a lot of groceries or whatever, and he comes home, he will knock a certain way or he'll like ring a certain way. And although I'm like, yeah, it is him, I will still check because I don't know. Stalkers, people, stalkers. I also do want to say that this is super tragic for the Amicons family, and that it's super horrible that they actually had to go through this. And I hope that everyone has already healed, and you know that their family is doing great, and you know that Adrian is in a better place. I honestly want to encourage you guys also to be very, very safe, because we do live in a pretty nasty world and we just don't know what could happen. I also want to know if any of the people that are watching me are from Canada, and if you guys know anything more about this, you know, story, if there's more to it than I actually, you know, said, because I couldn't find a lot of information. I also want to ask you guys if you guys want to share the story, like scary stories that you guys have experienced with me, so that we can share it on the channel. You guys can write them below, or I'll leave my email somewhere. And then I'll leave my social media if you guys are interested to follow me over there. And also if you guys want to share like your stories or your experiences, your spooky experiences over there with me, so we could share them on the channel, that would be super, super awesome. And I want to thank you guys for watching my video. And yeah, this is going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye! Oh, also, hey! Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. So now I can truly say bye.